Hey guys, patch 0.10.3 dropped not too long ago, and as always, I've jumped into Dreadhunger, experimented with changes, and gathered my thoughts into a video. We'll get started with the big ticket items in this patch, starting with the fix I was kinda hoping wouldn't ever come. The boiler can no longer be pre-sabotaged. I was a big fan of what the Pre-Sabotage, also known as the landmine, made possible for Thralls to pull off. But at the end of the day, it was a bug in the game, and it wasn't known to all players as a trick or play a Thrall could do. For those unsure what a Pre-Sabotage was, basically you could set up a sabotage to occur on the next batch of coal to be added to the boiler by sabotaging a batch of coal when it only had a few seconds of power left in the boiler. The gunpowder would disappear from the boiler visually, but would wait in the boiler and sabotage the next batch of coal even if it didn't happen for another 10 minutes and you were halfway across the map at the time. It made it possible to frame other players, as crewmates scrambled to work out who had done the sabotage. I love framing other players, adding extra layers to my deception the crew would need to work out in order to catch me. In my upcoming video, Some Ideas for Dreadhunger, I explore this further, including a possible way to incorporate the pre-sabo idea into Dreadhunger, only in a more intentional way. So I won't go in depth on every problem I have with removing this mechanic in this video, but it does disappoint me that this creative option to deceive the crew has been removed for Thralls, especially in a patch that doesn't introduce a replacement method. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a big advocate for adding more gameplay mechanics and options to the game, and removing a mechanic that made the games interesting will always be a mistake in my eyes. Lobbies with players that all knew about the pre-sabo trick in the boiler were brilliant, as players didn't just yell out the name of who had to have sabotaged and attack them. There was a genuine alternate method that could have sabotaged, and it made the games A, more civil, B, more interesting, and C, more fun for both sides. Well, at least for me. Now, the next big ticket item is a change to syringes. Poison syringes no longer heal the target they're injected into. This change has made a surefire way to test if a syringe is poisoned through checking if it heals you when injected. More importantly, if you see someone inject you or another player, you can check yourself or ask the injected player if their health is recovering quickly. If not, you 100% know it was a poison syringe, so you can attack the injector faster rather than waiting for someone to throw up. This of course doesn't work if you're full health. It might be worth keeping yourself at 3/4 health when on the ship this patch. Maybe. However, this change does remove a way for players who were paying attention to catch that they've been syringed from behind without seeing the syringe happen itself. Noticing your health bar recovering quickly was a sign that you'd been injected without your permission. Moving on. Cannibals were fixed to kill the player they downed first, rather than turning on each other after downing a player, as they were in patch 0.10.2. Honestly, I liked that Cannibals weren't finishing you off. It didn't make sense why they didn't, but I liked what it changed for the gameplay. Thralls had to physically go to the location of the downed player themselves to finish them off, which meant Cannibals truly were just to slow down players, not kill them outright. Changing them back is fine, it's probably for the best, but it was nice while it lasted. Finally, in my opinion, the most important big ticket of patch 0.10.3, an increase to the random range of when a sabotage would take effect. Basically, how long after the gunpowder has been put into the boiler would the boiler itself sabotage and alert the crew. Previously, sabotages were pretty consistently taking around 15 seconds to sabotage after placing the gunpowder into the boiler, which gave you an exact time that you knew you had to position, get an alibi, or run. The range has been significantly changed. I ran 22 tests in a custom game earlier today, which gave very surprising results. The new Sabotage range appears to be somewhere randomly between 4 and 20 seconds. That's right, the Sabotage only took 4 seconds after the gunpowder entered the boiler to take effect in multiple of my tests. This has a major impact. A random range means a variable that even the most experienced Thrall can't predict. Planning goes out the window, as whenever you sabotage on this patch, you'll be praying you were given the right time that you planned for. Either a player will have more of an opportunity to get themselves an alibi after sabotaging, should the timer be kind and be on the higher end of the spectrum, between 15 and 20 seconds, or the sabotage could happen almost instantly and you'll be caught effectively with your pants down, red-handed as the saboteur. As such, Thralls who sabotage on this patch will need to have a failsafe when doing so. Be prepared to call someone out as the saboteur first. Take the heat off yourself and pray that the crew believe you. I believe a better way to implement this change would be to add a way to control the time it would take the sabotage to affect the boiler. For example, 1 gunpowder would take 20 seconds to sabotage the boiler. 2 gunpowder would take 15 seconds. 3 gunpowder would be 10 seconds. 4 gunpowder, 5 seconds. And if you put 5 gunpowder into the boiler, it would instantly sabotage. Giving Thralls flexibility is the path to a replayable, successful deception game, not leaving critical Thrall actions up to chance. It would give Thralls incentive to create more gunpowder and store more in their inventory to either prevent progress immediately or buy themselves some time to reposition. Now, the random sabotage range does give the counter argument of, it could have been Hunter, they touched the boiler 5 seconds before me. Basically, the crew can't pinpoint exactly who the saboteur was by the time alone in this patch. But making it random rather than controllable by the Thrall is a mistake and a missed opportunity for giving more power and control to the players to play their best game. Now, there were also a couple of smaller changes this patch, which I felt were worth mentioning. Basically, they got this reaction from me. Oh, nice. The first was correcting the scoring event for coal that's inside a barrel, either being used in the boiler or destroyed by the Thrall. It'll be nice for your scoreline to accurately reflect the work that you put in. 15 coal in 5 barrels is impressive, and you should be credited for carrying the ship with the appropriate points. The second change cleaned up the process to poisoning items that are on the corpses of other players. In previous patches, the poison would often be consumed on the item, but not used if dragged directly onto the item that is on a dead corpse of a player. This made the process painstakingly long as you drag the item you want to poison out of their inventory into yours, drag poison onto it to poison it, then drag back the item back into the same slot of the dead corpse and then leave it there for players to pick up and take back to the ship. Another nice change. Next, some peace of mind for players since patch 0.9.2, where polar bears despawning became a thing. You can now guarantee that Bongo will be on top of the summit and not despawned. They also fixed the Nitro exploit, which is very nice. It was apparently previously possible to spirit walk while carrying Nitro, which needless to say was gross and a very strong play for the Thralls who were aware of it. Unlike the pre-sabotage, the only way to avoid this play was to be so far away from Nitro it couldn't happen to you. The Thrall could basically bomb the ship without dying for 20 leaks and potentially kill unaware crewmates on board who were caught in the explosion. And that's about it. Definitely a smaller update, but a few noticeable changes already. I'm happy to see some changes to dead-end mechanics like the Sabotage, which are so easy to play around as a crewmate. But the way they went about it just missed the mark for me. But it's a part of the process. If you agree with me on my analysis, please let me know in the comments. And if you don't, Let me know down below and we'll keep the conversation going. The closer we get to full release, the more tweaking I expect we'll see. Hopefully we'll see some changes that give more possibility for Thralls to work with and more control given to each player to play the game on their terms. Thanks for watching. Like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more. I stream Dread Hunger live on Twitch quite regularly. The link's in the description if you'd like to come by sometime. There's a bunch more Dread Hunger gameplay videos right over here, and more detailed guides and analysis videos up on my channel if you're interested. Good luck out in the Arctic, and watch out for Bongo.